Welcome to Build Your Maverick Business, the podcast for underdog, outlier, and renegade entrepreneurs. Brought to you by Strange Creative Studio. If you dream of going off on your own and launching your rebel empire, but don't know where to start, you're in the right place. We'll teach you how to use mindset, branding, and practical advice to build a killer business and transform your world. And now, here's your host, founder of Strange, Alex Pitt.
Well, hello everyone and welcome back. Has anybody else found themselves personally victimised by that fucking Royal Match game? I think I mentioned it in the Facebook group the other day and it was just like, and I fought it, my loves, I fought it. I got advertised on every single game that I have. Come and play this game, there's no ads. Look, save the king, da-da-da. And I was like, no, too aggressive, don't like it, don't want to play. Yeah, they sucked me in, didn't they? And at first I was thinking, how are they making money off of this? Because there's no adverts, you don't have to pay for it. Like, what's the business strategy happening here? Well, now I understand. It turns out they're basically just handing out free samples of crack, knowing that we'll all come back for more. It's so addictive, motherfuckers. And then you only get a few lives. And so after you've blown through those, then you're just like itching for more. So you go into another game to try and scratch the itch. And oh look, there are ads in the game and they're advertising Royal Match, which I can't fucking play because I've run out of lives. I tell you what though, some of the levels in that game are really hard. It is quite a hard game once you get past a certain point. But it hasn't put me off because after all, it is a game. And it's the kind of difficulty that I can get on board with, right? A kind of difficulty I enjoy and I can indulge in it. It's a challenge. We all like a bit of a challenge. Now, speaking of things I've recently downloaded, I've gotten back onto that Couch to 10K app. So I swear this is relevant, by the way. I am getting to the point, you know me. In our little leafy suburb in West London, we live at, I wouldn't even call it a hill, right? It's a very slight slope. But recently, I've been finding that the last few steps of that walk are getting harder and harder. And as soon as I get in, and we live on the second floor as well, so by the time I've gotten to the top of the steps, I just flop on the sofa like a rag doll, a sweaty mess. So I thought to myself, okay, Al, it's time to get your fitness levels back up. So I downloaded this app and I went for my first run the other day. And it was very hard. I was out of breath, I was a sweaty mess, I had a bright tomato face, and my fringe was sticking to my forehead. It wasn't attractive. I did it, I was proud of myself, I was running for about an hour, running and walking, let's be honest. But my legs ached for days afterwards, and I made a very bold move of going to soft play with my niece the next day, and what the fuck, when did that child get so fast? So yeah, I was in a bit of a world of pain. It was a hard thing to do. But in the end though, a few days later, I went for a long walk, went to get our shopping, a few essentials, and I was carrying it all back up the slight slope. And lo and behold, I didn't struggle as much. So that run, as difficult as it was, has already made a noticeable difference in how much easier I find knocking about day to day. The run was hard, but struggling to get up the stairs was also hard. I chose which option I wanted to face. And that, at long last, brings me on to the subject of this episode. And it was actually inspired by this quote that I read about choosing your hard. Okay, this really, really spoke to me. Now, it gives a few examples, but just to name a couple, it says, marriage is hard, but divorce is also very hard. So choose your hard. As I have learned in the last few days, staying fit is hard, but being unfit is also hard when you're trying to get up the last few steps of that slope. So you've got to choose your hard. Now, I knew I needed to do this episode today because yesterday I had one of those days in my business where it felt like the sky was falling down on my head. If you are already running a business, you'll know how that feels. I mean, if you're just a human being living on this fucking planet in 2023, you know how that feels. But it was specifically business related, right? I just thought, Christ, there's so much to do. I have so many steps to take before this new product that I'm working on at the moment is going to see any return on investment. And that's just one product, right? There's a growing to-do list, an overflowing inbox, not enough hours in the day. I found myself looking at this massive mountain in front of me that I knew I had to climb, but I didn't know if I had the emotional capacity to make it halfway up, let alone to the top. But you know what? I had a moment, like I often do, where I compare that to the alternative. Right, if I were to just pack it all in and say, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore, it's too hard. The alternative is working a 9-to-5 job, making somebody else's dreams come true. Being told who to work with, what hours I'm required to be sat at a desk, how much money I'm worth for my skills and expertise, how many days of annual leave I'm permitted and when I can take them. Letting other people dictate how every day of my life is going to play out for me. Feeling stuck, unfulfilled, and letting my life tick away without doing what I really want to do. I mean, fuck that for a laugh. Running a business is really hard, but it's kind of like a good pain because it's worth something. It's heading towards something. And when you compare it to the alternative, to being comfortable in a dead-end job and wishing things were different, for me, that decision is absolutely non-fucking negotiable. I've chosen my hard, and I'm going to ride it out. Now, a quick plug before I leave you, my darlings. You've heard me talking a lot about a new product that I'm working on. I've been a bit cryptic, but hey, it's nearly ready to go. I have recently built out the webpage for Fearless Visibility 101. Right? If you want to step into the spotlight, engage your audience, be relentlessly authentic, and not be fucking terrified while you're doing it, then this is for you. I put together a 6-week framework to help you build a raving fan base of followers, become unforgettable in your industry, attract your dream clients, find all the people that think you're the dog's bollocks, but most importantly, find showing up online completely effortless, fun, and unashamedly you. I can vouch for this being a really fun thing to do. There are group programs and individual one-on-one coaching available. It is a 6-week program, and everything else you need to know is on the landing page, which I am going to put a link to in the show notes of this episode. But that's not all, my darling little Mavies. I also have a brand new free 7-step action plan to kick-starting your side hustle. Now, if you've listened to this episode and you haven't started your own business yet, and everything that I've said has made you a little bit sad, I do apologise, but take this as a sign from the fucking universe, alright? Go and download that 7-step action plan, the link for which I will also put in the show notes of this episode. Kick-start that Maverick business of your own. Right then, you lot, I'm off for another run. Wish me luck. Have a wonderful week, and I'll catch you here next time.